Hi, this is Travis in the Uncanny Valley. I'm going to try to speak at a normal pace and a lot less umming and hem hawing, and so that when I listen back to it, I don't have to do it at one and a quarter or one and a half times speed because that's annoying even to me. I can't imagine how annoying it is to you. So I'm going to talk about the three kinds of empathy. This is uh, a construct put forth by a couple people um, together. The first one, as they frame it, is cognitive empathy, and that would be, for instance, my ability to see things from your perspective. Secondly, and I'm paraphrasing greatly because I uh, am not on board with this concept, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. The second one they describe as emotional empathy, and that's kind of like I feel with you. The third would be empathic concern, and that's the felt sense that when I see that you're in trouble, I spontaneously want to help you out. Okay, so the I'm going to try not to get into my personal struggles in this video, just because I want this to be kind of a standalone video about uh, the concept of empathy and related related things. So the issue I take with this very okay, to go over it with a first pass would be that what they call cognitive empathy is what I would call experienced empathy. So um, I get the cognitive part. They're saying it's just your ability to understand it on an intellectual level, but that is what I consider experienced empathy. That you are, it's an internal experience, and that you are having the ability to see things from another person's perspective, especially with regard to emotional experiences. Okay. So part of the problem as they build on that is that it requires a certain level of theory of mind to apply that cognitive empathy. Um, I don't I don't think cognitive empathy is something you apply. I think at its application, it is something else inherently. So, um, the thing that they call emotional empathy, um, that I feel with you, it's the sharing of that emotion that that I believe makes it sympathy. You are thereby sympathizing with that person. Now, granted, it might be something you haven't experienced before, but I would posit that your capacity for what they call emotional empathy, rather, sorry, um, is enabling you to have a shared emotional experience. You are sympathizing with them. So, um, and for you, that is again an internal experience. How you act on that, or whether you act on that, is would again make that something else. I would call the acting on cognitive empathy. I would call that, um, depending how you do it. If you validate their experience because you understand it intellectually, that is what I would call, based on my understanding from what I'm reading and trying to make this into a picture I can understand. That is validation. You're validating their experience, but that's not the only possible way to express cognitive empathy. It could be done maliciously, but in the context of trying to be a loving person, it would be expressed through validation. Emotional empathy, or what I would call sympathy, um, could be verbalized or acted on as expressed sympathy by verbalizing that shared experience and hopefully, evaluating, hopefully correctly, whether the person would be best comforted through validating, empathizing, and validating their experience on its own merit as a standalone experience, or whether they would want and potentially benefit from hearing you sympathize and hear about your experience and your shared experience. But those I see as four separate things, not two things. And then empathic concern. This is the one I have the biggest problem with because they describe it as the felt sense that when I see you're in trouble, I spontaneously want to help you out. Okay, not only is this compassion to suffer with someone, but empathic concern, like they're taking empathy, which is an internal experience, and concern, which is an internal experience, and uh, implying that it is going to be or is inherently on its own an action, um, or that it's going to lead to an action. Whereas neither empathy nor concern are action. And I guess the bigger problem I have with this was that it doesn't even require empathy. The the felt sense that when I see you're in trouble, I spontaneously want to help you out. Like there's so many other ways to get to um, that. I mean, just love and if you see someone with a broken leg, this is not an emotional experience. You can want to help them out. Okay, so if you this is weird, but like say you saw someone with a broken leg and you didn't even know legs could break, but just upon seeing it initially, you were able to see things from their perspective and want to help them or not, but the ability to see things from their perspective, that's empathy. If you had had a broken leg before um, and want to help them or not, uh, that's sympathy. uh, where empathic concern would come into this um, is that you would have a strong sense, you would see their trouble and spontaneously want to help. But again, the issue I take with that is that it doesn't require empathy, it doesn't require sympathy. So again, that's just concern. If you see someone on the side of the road with a flat tire, like I would argue you don't need much sympathy or empathy. You could get there with just compassion or love and want to suffer with that person or just to share that, to help them out. Like I struggle to see that this requires empathy on any level. So yeah,